Okay, Assalamualaikum. So, in the previous slide, I had briefed you on the characterization of animals in the kingdom of Animalia, where animals are characterized based on few characteristics such as tissue layers, presence and absence of symmetry, body segmentation, cephalization, and many more. Okay, so now I will continue with the first phylum in the kingdom of Animalia. And before I proceed, alright, so let's recap some of the phylums in kingdom of Animalia. Alright, so the very basic animals in the animal kingdom is the animal in the phylum of Porifera. Okay, Porifera, and then followed by Phylum Nidaria, phylum, what phylum? Okay, the animal in Platyhelminthes, okay, phylum, and whatnot. Okay, alright. Okay, so today I will start first with the phylum of Porifera. So these are the list of phylums in kingdom of Animalia. Start from the very basic or the very least advanced animals in the animal kingdom. Alright, so the first one is the phylum Porifera. Okay. Example, the sponges, like I mentioned before. Second one is phylum Nidaria, and don't forget the first alphabet of the phylum name should be capitalized. Okay, right, and then followed by phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Nematoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum Annelida, Arthropoda, Echinodermata, and also Chordata. Okay, so we are going to start with the first phylum, alright, in the animal kingdom, which is the phylum Porifera. So the example is sponges. Okay, alright, so basically sponges are animals that lack of specialized tissue that I mentioned before in the previous slides, the previous video, where the sponges are not made of tissue, they just made of cells, specialized cells. Okay, alright, so and also sponges also are example of organism or animals that do not have definite symmetry, meaning that they are not showing a definite shape, they are not having definite shape. Okay, so or we call as absence of symmetry. So the examples are, you can see, as you can see from here, the example of sponges: yellow tube sponges, barrel sponges, and many more. Okay, so what are their characteristics? Okay, so of course they are multicellular organism. Okay, and the body contains several different cell types that differentiated based on the various functions. So they are not made of tissue, they just have cells that have specialized functions. Okay, next, the body are porous. We call as porous body, which they have pores. The body have pores. So I will show you the picture later. And they not have definite shape. So either radial symmetry or irregular symmetry. Okay, and they have no organ or tissue. So how they do their excretion and respiration? Everything is just by the diffusion. And some group of sponges have sharp spicules. So these spicules made of calcium carbonate and silica. So what is the function of the spicules? Okay, I'll explain you a bit further. Okay. Alright, next. Sponges or animal in the phylum of Porifera are the only animal phylum that lack of nervous system. So meaning they do not have a basic nervous system. Okay, and yet they are not able to move. They are not motile also. Okay, so mostly are marine, and of course all are aquatic. There are no terrestrial sponges. Okay, and they are undergo intracellular digestion. Intracellular digestion means they are feeding by using flagellated choanocyte, or we call as the cola cell. Okay, so choanocyte lining the spongocell internal chamber that create a water flow through the sponge with their flagella and trap food with their colas. Okay, I'll show you a bit later. Okay, the choanocyte. So this choanocyte helps helps the sponges to feed. Okay, most sponges are hermaphrodites. Okay, what is hermaphrodites? Hermaphrodite means they are having both male and female sexual reproduction structure, which produce sperm and also eggs. Okay, and the common example of sponges is Leucosolania species, right? Okay, so you have this picture in textbook. So this picture showing you the structure of the choanocyte. Okay, so the choanocyte. So this is the large picture of choanocyte. You can have here. So the large picture is here. All right. So the choanocyte. This is the choanocyte. Okay. The choanocyte line with flagellated cell. All right. So this is flagellated cell that beat and create current to draw water in through the pores and out through the osculum. So as this flagellated cell create flow, it's actually help to help the sponges to feed. Okay, and apart from that, you can see this is the pore, right? The pore that you found within the sponge's body, right? So this pore helps water to enter the sponge's body and thus help to create the current for the intracellular digestion. Okay, and another one is the spicules. Okay, so the yellow color here is the spicules, sharp spicules. Okay, all right. So this spicules basically helps in terms of sort of like protection, okay, for the sponges. All right. So again, this is the overview of the choanocyte cell. All right, that have the which we call as also the flagellated cell. Okay, right. Okay, so next I will continue with the next phylum. So remember the first phylum that we discussed earlier is Phylum Porifera. So next after following of the Porifera is the Phylum of Cnidaria. Okay, so Phylum Cnidaria, or the animals in this phylum, we call them as cnidarians or coelenterids. Okay, so cnidarians have tissue. Okay, they are made of tissue. And how many layers of tissue? They have 2 layers of tissue. Right? So the ectoderm and also endoderm layer. And basically they are having radial symmetry body shape. And entirely of them, they are all aquatic, some living in fresh water, but mostly are marine. Okay? And cnidarians, all right, have 2 types of body plans. Okay? One is sessile polyp and second one is floating medusa. So how to differentiate sessile polyp and floating medusa, I will explain you a bit later. And as compared to porifera or sponges, so animals in the phylum of Cnidaria have digestive compartment, right, which we call as gastrovascular cavity. So this gastrovascular cavity has only a single opening. So this one opening acting both as mouth and also anus. All right, so you can see this is the example of a body plan for cnidarian. All right, so the first one here, the structure of polyp, sessile polyp. So this is what we call as sessile polyp. How to differentiate sessile polyp and floating medusa? So floating medusa is, you can see the tentacles basically facing downwards like the jellyfish. All right. And as for sessile polyp, you can see the tentacles is facing upward, like the sea anemone, right? And this is the gastrovascular cavity, right? The gastrovascular cavity that has only one single opening that acting both as mouth and also anus, okay? All right, so what are the examples of animal in the phylum of Cnidaria? They are hydra. So you can see hydra having sessile polyp body plan, right? Jellyfish, which having floating medusa body plan, okay? Sea wasps, okay? And also sea anemone, also having sessile polyp body plan. Alright. Okay. So at this point of time, I believe you should understand how to differentiate which example of animal in phylum Nidaria that have sessile polyp body plan and which one do have floating medusa body plan. Okay, so this one showing you the life cycle of a jellyfish, okay, Nidarian. Alright, so they might undergo both sexual reproduction and also asexual reproduction by budding. Okay, so the adult medusa, for example here, will produce gonad, alright, eggs and also sperm, which will undergo fertilization. So as zygote develop, alright, the zygote will develop into planula, where the planula will then develop into polyps. So this is the mature polyp, which later may undergo asexual reproduction by budding to produce the feeding polyp, which later become the medusa. Alright, Nidarian do have tentacles, as you can see from the picture. So the tentacle contain nidocyte. So what is nidocyte? Nidocyte is a stinging cell. Okay. So since you can see the phylum is named as Nidaria, so the Nidaria actually came from refers to the nidocyte. Okay, refers to this cell, the nidocyte cell, which is the stinging cell. So nidocyte contain nematocyte, which used for defense and capturing the prey. Okay, Nidarian do not have a circulatory or excretory respiratory system. So basically, they just use diffusion. So again, example of Nidarians are Hydra, okay, Aurelia, the large jellyfish, sea anemone, okay, corals, and also box jellies. Okay, so you can see this is the tentacle, right? The tentacle of a Nidarian contain a cell that we call as nidocyte. So this is nidocyte, right? If you enlarge the image, you can see this is the nidocyte cell. So the nidocyte contain nematocyte, okay, this one. So this nematocyte will discharge thread-like structure that helps to capture the prey, which allow them to feed. Okay, all right. So I guess that's all. Explanation related to first two phylums, Phylum Porifera and Phylum Nidaria. Okay, see you next. Thank you.